Alright guys, so if you saw my Avengers review, and since the views are a lot higher than my subscriber base, I'm assuming you did. This is my buddy John Flippick, if you didn't see our other previous reviews.
Hey.
Basically, if you saw in the Avengers review, I teased that, we're going to do a spoiler-filled discussion of the Avengers. Just, no holds barred, our thoughts, just everything we feel like, that we can talk about
Casual
stuff.
feelings.
Exactly. There's things we can say that we normally wouldn't say in a review. So, you guys probably both know we loved it. I mean, it's freaking amazing.
It was a nerd. What is it?
Nerdgasm.
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 Good job.
I spermed in my pants.
That's another way you could put it.
Get ready for heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen, why would you be watching this if you haven't seen the movie? Everyone's seen the movie. How much? It's almost made what? $800 million, $1 billion.
It's made $1 billion worldwide.
Okay, everyone's seen it.
Speaking of that, do you think that this movie is going to get close to Avatar, or at least surpass maybe Titanic's domestic numbers?
I think it'll beat Titanic. Avatar, it's hard to guess. I think it's going to get really close. I think overall, when it's all said and done with Blu-ray and DVD purchases and rentals, I think it will beat it.
I agree. I think that when everything is in line, I don't know about domestically at the box office. I feel like it could be Titanic at least.
It's comic book driven, where Avatar could be, Grandma 65 would go see that.
That's true, yeah. But then again, my mom, she's in her 60s and she really liked the Avengers, and she didn't watch Avatar. She didn't have the desire to watch Avatar, but she wanted to see the Avengers, though. The thing that I loved about this movie, to me, was just the fact that it was able to maintain such a consistency of characters. I mean, there were so many characters in this movie, and I was just expecting it to be all jumbled, but it wasn't.
Yeah, with big egos. I mean, you got Thor, you got, Hawkeye. Why, Hawkeye doesn't exist. We're going to set him, he's an afterthought. He's the crust that you find on the side of the toilet bowl.
He is the one that wasn't as developed. But that was because, he got turned early on. He was evil for half the movie. So it's he had an excuse to not be as developed as the others.
He was weak. That's why he got turned. The movie first started, you're at the S.H.I.E.L.D. underground base, and I was a little underwhelmed the first 5 minutes of that. There was a big, implosion and Loki, but it felt like a TV series when it first started out. Didn't it feel
Joss Whedon came off a lot of TV shows, so that's possible. I just really like that intro with Loki. He comes and he just kills a whole bunch of people. It's not like he kills people and then he turns some people, and I got the idea that Loki is a hardcore dude and he's gonna cause problems.
Right then, as soon as that scene was done, that's when the fun started for me.
Yeah, I mean, you needed that to set it up. As soon as all these characters started getting introduced, the Hulk and Scarlett Johansson, I mean,
just almost popping out of those pleather pants. You could see the seams in the back, just wanting to say, "Let me go."
She's one of those characters where when you're watching it, you're just like, why?
Just voluptuous is the word. Voluptuous. I was surprised how much screen time and how much story of the movie revolved around Black Widow.
I was glad, too, because a lot of people were commenting before the movie. They were like, oh, why is Black Widow in there? She's taking her gun, she's cocking her gun, and everyone else has all these powers, and it's like, what is she going to do? But no, she was great.
Does a lot, surprisingly. I mean, she survives a Hulk attack.
I liked how they showed her, they made her go visit Hulk, and she talked with Hulk. So that set up the fact that later she would then have that confrontation with Hulk, because you almost see a confrontation with him in the beginning when he slams the table and she gets all scared. Yeah. That sets up the fact that later they actually are going to have a little bit of a confrontation, and it's just so well written.
They really brought out that she is very cerebral. She's not just physical. She tricks men into giving her what she wants, just like a normal woman. But she has a gun and special abilities of flexibility.
She can trick me all she wants.
I will jump to the end of the movie real quick just for her. But there's that one scene where she jumps off Captain America's little thing and jumps and grabs a hold of this alien spacecraft going 400 miles per hour. Yeah. And I was like, that was a little beyond her abilities.
Might not happen.
Just a tidbit out of her reach.
In this movie, I forego the implausibilities
of reality.
Yeah, it's just whatever. But I mean, I understand. I really like the way they set up those characters. The way Banner was introduced. Mark Ruffalo is just great. I mean, I liked Edward Norton. I even didn't mind Eric Bana as the role.
I thought Eric Bana looked the part.
Yeah,
perfectly.
More than Edward Norton did, I think. This was just, he got it right. And the thing that was so cool about the Hulk in this movie for me was the fact that they understood the comedy of Hulk. They got the fact that a big hulking green guy, it's funny. That's a funny thing to happen to someone, really. Yeah. Each previous Hulk movie, whenever he would Hulk out, that was looked at as a failure. was like, oh, I failed.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like,
I'm
you
weak.
can't have, you can't have fun with that. But at the end of this movie, he like accepts that anger. He's like, my secret is I'm always angry. And that line, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
so you can have fun with it because he's like accepting it and it's fun. You know?
Yeah, all the other Hulk movies made him into a monster rather than a superhero. Let's talk about Mark Ruffalo. Now, when he was first cast, were you like, really?
Yes and no.
Like, who?
I like Mark Ruffalo a lot. I loved him in Collateral.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked him in everything I've seen him
The
in.
Last Castle?
I haven't seen that, actually.
Robert Redford.
The character of Bruce Banner is like a really insecure, kind of innocent, you know, kind of maybe a little bit not very self-assured kind of person. And that's kind of how Mark Ruffalo sometimes comes across, as just like a very timid guy. I was annoyed with all the hate, and I was telling people, I was like, it's going to be good, he's going to be good in the movie. And he was.
I bought the fact that he was a scientist, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And Edward Norton, I'm sorry, he didn't come across.
No,
He just came across as a guy on the run.
I completely agree. He was just like a fugitive or something.
Let's talk about when they get to the helicarrier.
The whole second act of the movie is on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising how long they were on the damn battleship with fans on the side of it. Which, by the way, it didn't look like it should float. But it was cool though. I liked it.
Once again, implausibility is out the window.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think they got it how it should look.
The cool thing about that ship is, like, you need a character who is experiencing that stuff for the first time so that we as the audience can like feel it through him. And that's why they had Captain America there, because Captain America is still like fresh and new to that time period.
Yeah.
And so, and I love how he takes the $10 and he hands Nick Fury $10. It's like, yeah, but
There you go, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was my 1940s voice.
That was a very good impression.
I really like the whole opening to Captain America where he's in the gym punching bags. He doesn't comprehend what new things are. Doesn't Iron Man call him old man or something?
I don't hit an old man. That's what he said.
I don't hit an old man.
I don't hit old man.
Yeah, sure. But he's an alcoholic. Anyway, originally they actually Joss Whedon said that he scripted the entire script with basically him and Captain America, and it was like basically them talking back and forth the whole movie.
Really?
That was like the whole basis of the movie. And
Interesting.
he didn't want to make it just that focused on them.
Basically, what happens on the ship is what makes them realize they have to be a team. Because when the Agent Coulson dies, that was the catalyst to make them realize the seriousness of the situation.
Nick Fury blatantly lies and says there's blood on Captain America's trading cards.
Right, which was like the needed push. But they also had to work together to fix the ship when it broke. So it was like their way of learning how to work together.
Now, I want to talk about that very comic booky, very obvious combining forces on the ship. Now, you have one of the turbo fans went down. And you have Iron Man. He has to jump in there and push it, start it, whatever. And then there's a big red switch that Captain America has to pull.
That's true.
Like, let's give Captain America something to do. Here,
push the red switch.
Pick the big red switch. Yeah, that's what you're capable of.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, whatever. I mean,
it
like
was
I said,
booky.
it is. I mean, yeah, it's the big red switch. I get it.
One of the coolest things happened in the entire movie when Incredible Hulk and Thor get in their little fight.
Great.
Which comic book wise, it all made they even them out just perfectly. Like you bought what was happening. Did you like the part where Thor's waiting for his hammer?
Yes.
And they make the joke that he actually does have to wait till it gets to where he's going. He's actually sitting there waiting for it for a few seconds.
Yeah, I like that. It wasn't just like, okay. It was like, it has to come through the wall for it. It would have been kind of funny to see like where it went.
It's just
some guy's just sitting there, it's like poof, in the background.
Taking a shower and a hammer goes between his legs.
That would be pretty funny, actually. I'm surprised they didn't do that. One of the things that I was hoping that they wouldn't do is, because I know a little bit of the comics, no one can lift Thor's hammer. No one can do that. I like how they showed Hulk try to lift it,
and then you
see
the ground
his feet like grabbed.
Yeah, that gave me the little, as you put it, nerdgasm. Those two words don't fit right together in my mind. I don't know why. Maybe because I've never used them before.
From Indiana.
I'm from Indiana, yeah.
That conversation was awesome. I mean, I'm not just saying, yes, it was awesome in that sense. But one of the things I said in my review is it's really easy to like geek out about this movie and just be like, oh, the special effects and everything. But like, they set up confrontations with people. It wasn't just a fight scene. There's a difference between a fight scene and a confrontation. Because like, if you look at the end of Empire Strikes Back, or the end of Return of the Jedi, that's a confrontation. That's not just we're going to fight and see who wins. Yeah. There's emotional stuff going on. They set this kind of stuff up during the movie, and it all gets rewarded at the end when you see all the little things that they set up fit into place.
And to talk about character development and actually like fleshing out emotions and making things make sense, the scene when you have the Hulk and and Black Widow and Eric Banner.
Eric Banner.
No, Bruce Banner.
Good job.
He's underneath the pipes, and him and Scarlett Johansson are laying there, and he's getting kind of mad and frustrated, and she's trying to calm him down, and he's trying so hard not to, and then he just snaps and almost kills her, and it just shows that he is incapable of controlling himself.
That shot of her on the ground,
just laying there all helpless on her with a pipe across her. Oh my! If I would have found her in that room, I don't think the Hulk would have been a threat.
You know what else though is kind of cool? There's a shot right before he turns into the Hulk fully.
Yeah.
He like turns around and looks at her, and you see his eyes. That was like the humanizing of. You're like, oh, he's sad right now. Like you just felt that. You're like,
he's sad.
He's a sad Hulk. He doesn't want to be Hulk right now. But that's great because you got the real Hulk out where he's mad, but then at the end you get the accepting. I like doing this. You know, like when Captain America's like he gives all the orders and he's like and Hulk is like and he's like smashed, and then Hulk is like you know, it's like yes, it's like you feel the adrenaline. Like a great scene where Robert Downey Jr. and Loki are in Stark Tower just talking. I love that scene.
Except the trailers ruined it because
trailers kind of did.
You kind of knew the entire.
That's one thing. The two things the trailers gave away. Yes, it was great to hear that I have a Hulk line. It was cool. I would have liked to have not known that. And the other thing is they shouldn't have shown Hulk catch Iron Man at the end. They shouldn't have shown that in the trailer.
Yeah, because I knew that was coming from like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
I didn't know that was going to be the big end scene when I saw the trailer.
Last entire part of this movie, the big, basically what Loki's doing is trying to, teleport or import people from space to come to Earth to take over, to make humans slaves. And they're using a MacGuffin, which was the blue
Tesseract.
cube. Okay, now let's compare that to another movie that just came out last year.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Transformers 3. Exact same storyline for the ending.
There are similarities.
It's pretty damn similar. A big thing goes up in the sky, opens up a hole, things are falling down.
There are similarities. The only thing I can think is they came out in such a short amount of time that I'm sure Joss Whedon was probably already planning a lot of that ending, and he probably saw Transformers 3 and was like, crap.
Hey, I was just putting it out there.
Not that we're giving, you might be, but I mean, giving support to Michael Bay.
Hey, I've given enough support to the guy. Someone else has to, lift up his sack and cough.
I like that the whole ending scene. It's like the Transformers 3 ending was just a lot of nifty special effects for 45 minutes, and it had some cool fights, and a building caved in, and Sam Witwicky screamed a lot.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the end of Avengers for a second.
Thanks for that.
I couldn't tell the difference. Except the end of the Avengers was more entertaining and
and there were
more fulfilling.
There were characters in situations. And stuff was happening. Okay, it wasn't just mindless. Explosions.
I think they did what they could with everyone doing their own little part. Obviously, Captain America can't do what Thor can do.
Exactly.
So he's kind of like on the ground, just holding back the crowd and putting up caution tape.
That's the other thing I said in my review initially. I like seeing all the people come into play. Like you could see what Black Widow and Hawkeye can do. They can help the people out of the bus and stuff without squishing them like the Hulk would.
Exactly.
But I also like the fact that they showed Black Widow. She had some blood on her head coming from her mouth. You got the fact that she is still
a woman.
Yeah. No. Basically, I think Joss Whedon did everything in his power to make her as strong of a female character as possible amongst all these.
Yeah, she made Hawkeye look like a wuss. You like that big epic shot of Hawkeye when he's falling off the building and he's shooting his arrow?
I actually loved that.
And then he just shoots the arrow that has a rope in it and he swings into a window. Oh god, I got away, thank god, I don't have to fight. Jesus, I have no powers. I'm gonna hide in here for a little bit. Or Hulk's standing beside Thor and just, after their confrontation, they still have a little bit of grudge and he just punches him and he flies out of frame.
Yeah, that was great.
Best part of the entire movie to me.
Loki, a ragdoll with Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk grabs Loki, slams him around, makes him basically Loki has this big self-complex issue. I'm a god. No, you're not. You're a little bitch on the floor crying
exactly.
with a mullet.
Exactly.
Why don't you go wet your hair back down?
The camera's zooming in on Loki. He's like, I'm a god. You are nothing. You are mindless beast. And then he just see him go, out of frame. I mean, that part.
Roid rage on him, man.
Perfection. That is one of the funniest moments I've ever seen in a movie.
Finally, Tony Stark kind of has a little bit of he redeems himself finally.
Yeah, and they set that up in the movie because they show Captain America talking to him. And he's like, "You're not a hero. I've seen you on the news and stuff. You just do this for yourself." They set up that, and then you see Tony Stark's face, and there's a moment of recognition where he's like, "That might actually be true." He doesn't want to admit it because even in the first Iron Man and the second Iron Man, when Iron Man 1 ended, he was still a narcissistic guy. He's like, "I am Iron Man."
But you liked him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is one of my favorites. But and even in Iron Man 2, he still never really got the whole This movie was like his character arc, really. I mean, at the end of the movie, he decides to sacrifice himself. He didn't know he was going to make it out.
And then Hulk obviously catches him at the end. And I like how they set it up so, we're getting really nitpicky and really weird here, but I like how Thor was on the ground, and they didn't just show like everyone standing around like, oh, I hope he doesn't hit the ground.
Exactly.
Thor was actually ready to fly
He
up
was
there
like
and get
whipping
him.
his hammer.
Yeah,
He would have done it.
Yeah. But Hulk just beat him to it. And then
Right.
when he lands on Hulk throws him off of him, like, you know.
Yeah, he's just like, ugh. And he's like, ugh. That's so funny. I mean, Hulk is so funny in this movie. Like, they understood. Joss Whedon is such a good writer. I mean, he knew where each of these characters should be.
He's for the fanboys. Could you imagine him writing like Transformers and making it like good?
The humor is actually funny.
Yeah, instead of the little robots humping each other's legs or whatever.
Cocaine biscuits or whatever they have.
Cocaine, yeah.
There's no comparison to the other Hulks. I'm sorry. This is what the Hulk is like in the comics. When he turns around and says, "That's my secret, I'm always angry," that is the character of Hulk in the comics. And I got a lot of questions on my review saying, like, what's the one line you're talking about, Chris? The line that made the Hulk, and that's the line I'm talking about. That line is just...
I agree.
That is Hulk, you know? And he turns around and he punches that thing. I mean, the theater, like, clapped. Like, it was great.
Even fanboys out there who play like Marvel Alliance and all those games. I liked when Tony Stark or Iron Man shot his little blast thing off Captain America's shield.
Yeah.
That's in a lot of the video games,
Yeah.
and I think that was like a little...
That shot where it goes like all around the whole city and shows all of them.
Yeah.
There's just like the Hulk. The Hulk takes a piece of the ship, sticks it in the ship, and then Thor goes boom with his hammer.
Yeah, they all do like combos or something.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like combo times 6. If you guys don't know, I've gotten some questions on my review anyway. Like, who's the purple guy? That's Thanos. And I did some research because I'm not like that hardcore into the comics. He is the owner of the Infinity Gauntlet, which I actually am not sure what that is. But really, the whole thing about his character is that he is obsessed with death, the personification of death.
Like, he doesn't give a shit. Let's just die.
He loves death. Like, he's literally like, he's like aroused by death. And so that's why when...
He's a necrophiliac.
That's aroused by corpses.
Either way.
Anyway, when the guy is kneeling before him at the end and he's like, to fight humans is to court death, and Thanos turns around and smiles, that's because he's very enticed by that.
Okay.
So he loves the idea of death.
To me, I think that's what the next Avenger movie needs. It needs a bigger epic villain that you honestly don't think they can beat.
Loki just was very confused, and he had a lot of delusions.
He had a lot of... He was an emotional
grandeur.
teenager that his father didn't love him anymore. He was adopted, boo-hoo. Mm-hmm. And now
That's a great line, by the way, the he's adopted line.
Oh, yeah, the adopted line. And the Point Break line, where he calls Thor Patrick Swayze.
Of course you would like...
He looks like Patrick Swayze from Point Break.
There are similarities. The final after credit scene, though, is it's so simple. They're just sitting there eating their shawarma stuff that Iron Man was talking about. But that is honestly my favorite after credit scene ever. They're just sitting there and Thor just takes like this giant bite of whatever that is. I died. Like,
it's just casual.
So funny. They're all just there in their outfits, just like eating in a restaurant, and the restaurant's like caved in. That was just so clever.
And they shot that like a week before the actual American release. And if I read about that, Chris Evans actually had a beard by that time for another role. So if you look at the scene closely, he's kind of like hiding his face a little bit, and like they're covering.
That's true. I did notice that. Yeah, that's true.
Did you have any dislikes about the movie?
I honestly don't. If you haven't checked out our reviews that we did for Battleship and what to expect when you're expecting, we saw that.
Okay.
Then go ahead and check out those videos if you want to see more of us together. If you haven't checked out John's videos, check him out. Subscribe to him. He does Blu-ray updates. It's great.
Get flicked.
Oh wow!
Don't cut that.
All right. That's good.
Get flicked.